Hi, in this video I want to walk you through how to choose a choir that best fits your leadership style and your congregation. So you may be thinking, hey, I didn't know there were multiple types of choirs, but today I want to talk to you about the traditional choir and then the worship choir. So your traditional choir is what most people think of when you approach the idea of starting a choir. A traditional choir can be really difficult if you do not have classical training or if you're working with a group of people who are not classically trained. When I say classically trained, I'm talking about people who either went to school for music or maybe they play an instrument or can read music. You know, in the old days, churches grew up teaching parts. You'll see the 4-part harmony in the hymnal. So those people know music very well. And so if you want to move forward with the traditional choir, you just need to know a few things about it. So the first thing to know is that this traditional choir is going to expect sheet music. They want to be able to follow along with the notes and see where the harmonies are coming in. The second thing is you may need to be able to play through the parts. There is a way around this if you can find the tracks, rehearsal tracks that have the vocal parts. You want to have soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, or you may just have 2 to 3 parts depending on the size of your choir. The other thing to know is that a traditional choir feels a little bit more like high church, just meaning that when you think of this choir, you think of robes and books, people following their music and being a little less engaged with the crowd. The next thing that you want to know is that this choir has a higher expectation for perfection. And this is huge to remember, that your traditional choir, they want to know the notes, they want to go over the parts, they're very, very focused on the music and a little less focused on the worship moment, if that makes sense. And the last thing that I'll say is that a traditional choir is used to being the center of attention. So you may have a choral piece where the church sits and the choir sings, or you may have them leading the song and the choir singing along, so they are the focus. Now, with the worship choir, this is very different. So I'll start with the music. The people may just want a printout of the lyrics. And while you may have some people that read music and you can give them sheet music to follow along with, most of your crowd are just going to want a lyric sheet. The next thing that I would say is that you can sing them their parts or not. A worship choir is more like a community. That falls into my third point. You have a community feel. So it's not that high church feel. It's much more relaxed where people are just singing in the moment. You do rehearse, you do want them to be on key, and you do want to use your vocal parts because that adds a lot into it. But typically with a worship choir, I will go through and mic my lead parts. So you have a soprano, an alto, a tenor, and sometimes a bass, and you'll put them on the microphone. There's a little bit more to this than just putting all 4 parts out, because worship music is different. Where traditional music, you have a 4-part harmony and you sing it from beginning to end. So think Amazing Grace, How Great Thou Art, It Is Well. Where you have a worship song, you might have 2 parts of harmony. So less harmony is more in a worship song. So you want to think of songs like What a Beautiful Name or Graves into Gardens. Those songs do not require a 4-part harmony, and it actually can take away from it if you start harmony from the beginning and keep it going to the end. So the worship choir is much more laid back. It's a supportive approach to worship, and they wouldn't be the center of attention. They are just standing and worshiping and being that supportive group on stage. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I would love to help you start your worship choir.